Well, it's another night of widespread severe weather, tornado watches, severe thunderstorm watches, and we're going to look at them all because it's going to take us a while. And of course, this is all setting up after a day of 80s and sunshine after a warm front went by in the Northeast. And now we're going to make the slow descent into gloom and doom as the onshore flow takes over. So we'll be talking about all of this and the weekend and a little long range tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which is brought to you by Tempest by WeatherFlow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system, which, by the way, is very easy to install, take you less than 5 minutes, and you can run it off your mobile device anywhere you go. You'll be also joining the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link is pinned to the descriptor of this podcast. Use the coupon code Spring 2024 because if you do, you will get 10% off. Good evening, everybody. It's Joe Chaffee here. My colleague Joe Rayo is hopefully going to join us in a bit. His dog ran off into the woods, so he's on the hunt for his dog. Hopefully, he'll find him and he'll make it back in for the show tonight. Otherwise, I will be carrying this uh, all on my own tonight. And what a night it is! Good evening to everybody on the chat board tonight. And for those of you who are lurking in the background, welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're on Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. and the occasional Friday and Saturday if storminess dictates that we should be on, and of course, we will let you know about it via notifications and posts on various social media. So, subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn your notifications on so you don't miss us, and if you like the show, by all means, please hit the like button. So, today is the 8th of May. It is the seventh day out of the last eight that we are dealing with a pretty hefty, if not widespread, severe weather outbreak. Since May 1st, I counted on the SPC's website 109 tornadoes so far, and the month is not even a third over with. There were 300 for 200, I think it was 298 or 299 for the month of April, which was the second highest total for the month of April ever. And we're certainly on pace right now to go over 300 tornadoes for the entire month. But just the difference this time around is that much of the severe weather has been concentrated in the Great Plains, in the Missouri River Valley, and the Upper Mississippi River Valley for much of the last week, and actually for most of last month. But we are seeing a shift now further east and further south because of what's going on in the upper atmosphere. The jet stream pattern is changing. We've been dealing with mostly troughing in the west and the occasional trough in the east, and now it's flipped to the other way around, where the troughing is more in the east and less so in the west. So this is why we're seeing increased risk now from the Mississippi River on eastward. And there's severe weather all over the place tonight. In from there's severe weather in southeastern New England. There's severe weather in the Carolinas. There's severe weather all across the Tennessee Valley, back through the Mississippi River Valley down into Texas. So we're going to take a look at this. Let's just go right to SPC. We have five, count them, folks, five working tornado watches at the moment, uh, which is a lot. Okay. They're in Texas, in north central and northeast Texas, eastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas, into much of southern Missouri, into just kind of clipping southern Illinois and southern Indiana, but covering most of the states of Kentucky and Tennessee, down to northern Alabama and North Georgia. I'm in a tornado watch right now, as is eastern Tennessee. And then we have a severe thunderstorm watch, a small one that's getting whittled away a little bit in eastern North Carolina. The marginal risk extends all the way up into central New England, and it is producing. We're getting some thunderstorms in southeastern New England right now, that are on the severe side. So let's take a look at the radar. And you can see we've got two severe thunderstorm warnings, one in eastern Connecticut over Rhode Island, another one in into parts of southeastern Massachusetts, and various special marine warnings. Uh, the warm front that went through last night has pushed much of the rain up into northern Vermont and even over into Maine and New Brunswick, seeing some areas of heavy rain there. The warm sector has pushed its way up into central New England, which is why we're seeing these thunderstorms across Massachusetts and especially down from northeast Connecticut southeastward down over to the Cape. Otherwise, the radars are quiet. There are a couple of showers up in the Catskills and a couple of heavier downpours further up the Hudson Valley north of I-90. But most of the thunderstorm concentration in the Northeast is in southeastern New England. Meanwhile, further south, we have what looks like four severe thunderstorm warnings in North Carolina and South Carolina, with this cluster that is moving southeastward. Also, a severe thunderstorm warning has popped up in southeast Virginia, and that's from a little separate cluster there. And then the main activity with all these tornado watches that we have from northeastern Oklahoma into southern Missouri. You can see a huge cluster here of severe thunderstorm warnings. We have a tornado warning that is actually up south of St. Louis. I'm going to give this a quick refresh just to get the latest here. And yeah, there's some sort of tornado warning there. We've got a couple of tornado warnings now in Tennessee, a number of severe thunderstorm warnings in Tennessee and Kentucky, a bunch of flash flood warnings up also because the rain here has been especially heavy and the threshold for flash flooding not all that high. And in those southern watch boxes back through Texas, the lines of thunderstorms are just in their formative stages at the moment. But we do have some severe weather going on in southern Oklahoma and north and east of the Dallas Fort Worth. We don't have widespread severe weather there. But again, the cluster to this time around is more east west than what we saw a couple of days ago, which was running north south up through the plains. The just on Tornado HQ, we have a tornado warning that was issued 6 minutes ago. A severe thunderstorm warning capable of producing a tornado located 9 miles south of Murfreesboro, moving east at 30 miles an hour. This affects the counties of Bedford, Cannon, Coffee, and Rutherford in the state of Tennessee. There's another tornado warning in Tennessee. This has got about 18 minutes to go. And this is a severe thunderstorm located near Killingly, or 8 miles northeast of Plainfield, moving east at 40 miles per hour, affecting the counties of Windham, Bristol. I don't know why they have Bristol here. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. My fault. My eyes went down. So this the let me go back here. There's a lot. All right, so this is a tornado warning at 6:27, 18 minutes to go. Was capable of producing a tornado located in near Hartsville, moving east at 20 miles per hour. The counties of Smith, Trousdale, and Wilson counties in Tennessee. I somehow scrolled down to the southeastern Connecticut. That's a severe thunderstorm warning that is up there with this thunderstorm I mentioned near Killingly, or 8 miles northeast of Plainfield, moving east at 40. And those are for the counties of Windham, Bristol, Bristol County in Connecticut. I guess Bristol County in Massachusetts. I'm not sure. There's two Bristol counties listed here: Kent, Newport, Providence, and Washington counties. So it's Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island for that one. And as I said, all these other severe thunderstorm warnings that are up at this time uh, in uh, in Oklahoma, Tennessee, Arkansas, Illinois, Missouri. And this is just another crazy night in the land of severe weather. I got a couple of local radars here to show you. This is this is the Weather Service radar out of Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. And it's a 5 hour loop that I'm running here. And you'll notice the storms coming into view as they move eastward past Greensboro. and then further east, the main concentration of the heavy storms is in the southern part of the state. See all the yellows and reds that show up in southeastern North Carolina. So the radar there very busy. Let's go into Tennessee. Let's look at actually Fort Campbell, Kentucky, Trenton radar, and you can see there are numerous heavy thunderstorms here in western Kentucky and big storm just passed south of Nashville in the last hour or so. And you see how it evolved to the west, moving very quickly over to the east. Uh, let's go a little further east now and go to the Knoxville radar. And you can see the departing storms from western North Carolina that go into the Raleigh-Durham radar, which we showed you a little while ago. And now we're starting to see some heavy cells coming out of Kentucky and moving eastward there. There's some rain in central Tennessee, not quite into the eastern part of the state. The areas around Knoxville really not showing much activity at the moment. Here's the radar from Paducah, Kentucky, and notice the big thunderstorm cell south of St. Louis that has now moved into southern Illinois. And there's some big strong storms also in southern Indiana. And then there's another line. Here comes, this is the one that's um, causing problems again, also south of St. Louis as it moves along to the east. Let me go back to this national radar just to see um, where the other cluster is. Okay, so we can go into southwestern Missouri and check that out. So that would be the Springfield, Missouri radar. And again, line of storms here running northeast, southwest, with the strongest storms there in southwestern Missouri and northwestern Arkansas, continuing to move along to the east. So it's just a crazy night. And then on the satellite perspective with the lightning strikes, we've got a ton of them in that area from southern Missouri into southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and into Tennessee. I'm watching carefully the southern end of this to see if any cells, because we have enhanced risk in northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, and northern Georgia, and we are in a tornado watch. At least for now, it looks as if those cells are just to the north. So that's a plus for me anyway. So also the upper low is back still in eastern North Dakota, and that's actually producing some lightning strikes in southwestern Minnesota, northwestern Iowa, and into southeastern South Dakota. So busy thunderstorm night there, and you could see here, even here, we were seeing a severe thunderstorm warning that's popped up over central Iowa, a county or two in central Iowa, as that rotation of the upper low. It's been there for 3 days now, and has not moved away. Now it's gradually shifting its energy to the east, which was why we have all this activity going on from Missouri eastward, and we'll of course be watching a developing low that's going to be changing things in the Northeast and in the northern mid-Atlantic states after a day of temperatures in the 80s. I mean, it was just a really very warm day for much of from southern New England down into Virginia. And now we'll wait for a frontal passage and the beginnings of a high building down from the northwest from eastern Canada that's going to be building in. And we're going to be going into the land of the onshore flow, folks. Gloom and doom. It's going to be a gradual descent during the day tomorrow. And it's particularly for tomorrow night, Friday, and Friday night that we're going to be sitting in clouds and an onshore wind and temperatures that will probably be settling in the 50s and staying there for a while, downright miserable. And then that's going to shift the severe weather risk tomorrow a bit further south. So this is what the folks at SPC have for tonight. The moderate, all of it seems to be playing according to plan. We have a moderate risk from southeastern Missouri into north central Tennessee. We have a big area of enhanced risk that goes all the way back to eastern Oklahoma and northeast Texas, and then extends eastward across the whole state of Arkansas, except the extreme southeast, northern Mississippi, Alabama, northern Georgia, northern South Carolina, western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, on up through central Kentucky, southernmost Indiana and Illinois, and then back over into central Missouri. And then the marginal risk, actually, as we said, goes all the way up into upstate New York and covers much of central and southern New England. So and that has played out according to plan with the fact that we've seen some severe weather in southeastern parts of New England tonight. And then you also have this marginal risk that's fingering up through Iowa into eastern North Dakota and southwestern Minnesota. I have to tell you, you got to you can't if you follow SPC, the Storm Prediction Center, on a day-to-day basis. They do an exceptional job in setting what is a very difficult job. They do exceptionally well in setting up these risk areas because they usually play out according to plan. And I'm especially impressed with when they highlight and they isolate certain small areas that are outside, say, the mainstream area. For example, the marginal risk up in Iowa and eastern South Dakota and down at the southwestern Minnesota. That's with the upper low, and that's the sort of thing that sometimes can slip under everybody's radar. But they seem to catch it most of the time, if not 99% of the time. So kudos to the folks at SPC. Now, so far today, we have 11 tornadoes. This is the storm trend. So this is 11 tornadoes. We have 84 wind reports and 252 reports of hail. 252 reports of hail. This is for today, starting at 7 a.m. this morning, and this lasts until 7 a.m. Friday morning. And as I said, when I went back and added up the previous 7 days, we had 109 tornadoes yesterday. Uh, 43 tornadoes yesterday. 153 reports of damaging wind and 134 reports of hail. So, two these yesterday, very impressive. Today, well, it's got a ways to go because we still have another 12 hours here to bring the tornado stats up, and I'm sure there's going to be some more because these watches are going to continue through the rest of this evening and into the first part of tonight. Now, as far as tomorrow is concerned, we've got some changes for SPC for tomorrow. Oh, before I do that, let me go back. Um, let's go back to tonight just to show you the tornado risk, which is a small area of 2% in Massachusetts, a small area in Iowa, and into southeastern uh, South Dakota, southern Minnesota. And then, of course, with the main area of severe weather tonight, we have a 10% risk. Whoops. Sorry about that. Just briefly lost audio. And Joe Rayo is now popping in, I think. Are you there, Joseph? Joe Rayo, come
Hello,
in 2121-7777. Are you with us, Joe Rayo? Yes,
hear
you.
it? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
I hear you loud and clear. Everybody, Joe is just frightfully concerned about the dog situation.
Well, the dog has been found.
And
One of those situations where you don't know whether or not to hug him or whether or not you want to just kill him. Uh,
well, you don't want to do the latter.
but no, he just the I was not there when it happened. Renato was cleaning up the house. He opened up the back door, and zoom, he went out the back door, off of the back deck, and she started screaming for me, and I saw him. I yelled for him. Of course, he never listens to me, and he just skedaddled into the woods. And for those of you, Joe, I live uh, surrounded by forests.
Right.
uh,
Well, I'm the same here. I never he I would never let him out off leash. I did when I first got him, but and I tried it, but if he saw some animal, he would be zoom, completely focused and run off. Actually, um, very fortunate that I don't run him off leash because I saw this morning on my neighbor's property. Um, I saw the back of what was either what they call a wolf, which is a coyote mixed with a wolf, or a coyote. There are both around here, so that was not. You don't want to have a loose dog running around when you have those animals out there.
No, but last night, for example, we commented about the fact off in the distance we could hear coyotes, not just a coyote, but several.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, they do. That's what they do out here. And I say to I'm yelling at the dog when I brought him in. I said, because it was past his dinner time, and I said, I said, you're waiting for your dinner. I said, you would have been on the menu tonight if we hadn't found you after sunset. Um, he went into the woods, then he kind of turned all the way around. He emerged out of the woods down the road from where I live, crossed the street, and ended up in a neighbor's yard. Renata got into a car and started honking the horn, thinking that might bring him out. And one of the neighbors yelled, he says, "If you're looking for him, he's down here." As, so,
well,
so
uh,
I spent 15 minutes taking a good long shower because, those woods at this time of the year probably a tick infested. And Renata's in the shower right now because, you have to get rid of whatever you can get rid of. And, unbelievable.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh no, get ticks all over yourself. All right. By the way, a few people have been asking. You have him chipped, right?
Excuse me? Yeah, well, he has a microchip. He has a microchip, yeah.
All right. Well, that's helpful. All right, well, we've kind of gone through all the severe weather that's going on tonight, and I'll just bring back the wide radar view. I was just doing getting ready to do SPC's risk area for tomorrow. But a crazy night. I've got a tornado watch up here. There's 5 tornado watches. You've got these 3 big clusters of thunderstorms from southern Missouri east into Kentucky and Tennessee. It looks like Tennessee is getting parts of central Tennessee are getting hit especially hard. You also have some severe weather in southeastern Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. And SPC had pushed that marginal risk all the way up into southern Vermont and New Hampshire. And you know what? That's working out according to plan.
Yeah, we had some, the warm front came through this morning, not with anything significant. I mean, obviously, we did get some showers. I didn't hear any thunder, but it came on through. The clouds gradually broke and had a beautiful sunny afternoon. And right
And,
now it's generally clear outside, so it looks like it'll be a nice, balmy evening, balmy for early May, with temps tonight probably not getting much lower than the mid and upper 50s.
And then the slow but steady descent into the land of gloom and doom.
Tomorrow, it looks like to me, before all of this mayhem took place, got a good look at the weather charts, and seems to me, Joe, we'll be getting into some, occasional light rain developing during tomorrow afternoon, then rain tomorrow night, and then more rain on Friday. And Friday, yeah, certainly fits your gloom and doom description because I don't see temperatures getting much higher than the mid 50s. If they get as high as that,
I
and
agree.
it looks like rain for much of the day in varying degrees.
Right. Exactly. And the warm sector for tomorrow is setting up because this low is moving across the lower Ohio Valley into West Virginia and then popping off the Delmarva Peninsula somewhere. So the severe weather risk is, they've got the marginal risk reaching up into southernmost New Jersey, and then it's slight risk Delaware, Maryland, southward into South Carolina. Now, SVC has now extended an area of enhanced risk from north central Texas eastward across northern Louisiana, central and much of southern Mississippi and Alabama, and central and southern Georgia into a small corner into South Carolina um, for tomorrow. So, and that makes sense because the warm sector in the track of the low, the warm front is probably going to lie somewhere across northern Maryland and northern Delaware, and it's not moving northward because the low is sliding out to the east.
It's going to be one of those situations where now it's going to be our turn to be in the zone of, unfortunately, weather that's not going to change very much. I think Saturday, I looked at this and I actually, even though it looks like mainly dry, I still think that we may have from time to time and place to place on Saturday some spotty light rain or mist or drizzle. It really does not look like, and probably a lot more clouds than sun. And then for Mom's Day on Sunday, about the same story, cloudy, and even a better chance of getting wet on Sunday as opposed to Saturday. So you could say that Saturday will be the better of the two weekend days, but by how much?
It's
A little
not,
bit.
yeah, it's not really saying very much, is it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We've got 2 to 5% tornado risk tomorrow across the enhanced risk zone. There's also an area of 2% tornado risk, Northern Virginia, Maryland, parts of the Delmarva Peninsula into southwestern Pennsylvania, southeast Ohio, and northeastern West Virginia. I mentioned earlier, Joe, I did the count off SPC's website, not counting today. Since the 1st of May, in the first 7 days of May, 109 tornadoes. There were almost, I think it was 298 or 299 for the month of April, for the whole month of April, which was the second highest on record. And now, with the first 7 days of May, we already have 109. And now let's add today, which at last count is at 11. So we're at 120 for the month of May. And that's for the first 8 days. I mean, that's we're on a record pace here.
I appreciate your concern, Tom Contino, but I guess you weren't listening. I took a 15-minute shower before I came on now and uh, scraped and scrubbed as much as I possibly could. So, no, I don't think my hair has any ticks in it. But
Might
thanks
have
for
a
the,
might have a few birds in it, but no ticks.
yeah.
WPC's rainfall forecast the next 7 days. From New England down into Pennsylvania, New Jersey, half inch, 3/4 of an inch. A few areas in upstate New York, an inch or so. Then there's a gap of a quarter, half an inch or less in Virginia. Then it picks up again across the deep south and through the Gulf states, where we're seeing anywhere from an inch and a half to as much as 3 inches from East Texas to the Georgia coast. And then another area of several inches possible across northern Tennessee and southern Kentucky. Now, some of that has to do in the area in Kentucky and Tennessee is from what's going on tonight, clearly. And then we've got some other areas of a half inch to 3/4 in the northern Ohio Valley, through Wisconsin into northern Iowa, then up the Rockies from south to north, and the West Coast is dry. And going back to Sunday, folks, just going to look at this upper air where we had this powerhouse low that came in from California. We had this Great Plains storm system that is now sitting up in South Dakota since yesterday, and it's still there, uh, rotating around. Energy gets ejected eastward over the Great Lakes, which is part of the reason why we're getting severe weather tonight. We've got this really strong southwest flow from New Mexico northeastward to the lower Great Lakes. So all the severe weather is occurring just east of that jet. Well, now the eastern part of the trough is going to take over, and that swings and drops southward over the Great Lakes tonight. I'm sorry, for tomorrow night and into the Ohio Valley, which is why you've got the severe weather risk across areas in the south. And the trough swings around and sharpens as it moves toward the East Coast on Friday and Friday night, and there's another trough right behind it for Saturday into Sunday morning, and another one during Sunday afternoon as a low cuts off into the Gulf of Maine. And then going into next week, Mr. Rayo, more troughing in the east to deal with, along with some troughing in the plains. So if yesterday I've been told was described by many people as a beautiful spring day. Uh, you're not going to see those kind of days for quite a while.
No, it's like I said yesterday. Yesterday was a gorgeous day. Today wasn't too bad, considering we started out with clouds and wet weather in the morning, but it did evolve into a nice afternoon behind the warm front. But the days that are nice, the ratio seems to be like 1 or 2 to 5 or 6 bad days. And sure enough, tomorrow not so great, Friday not so great, and the weekend something less than one would desire, especially not so nice because it's Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah. Uh, Here's our surface map for tonight. Of course, we've got a low moving off the New England coast. We've got a new low forming in southern Illinois, and that low moving eastward. Boy, where was this in the wintertime? Moving across southern Illinois, moving southeast into southern West Virginia, popping off the Virginia coast. And I think you're correct. We'll probably see some uh, rain developing at some point during the day on Thursday from west to east, and then just sort of on and off rain of varying intensities Thursday night. Friday, another low forms in Virginia and moves offshore. And in fact, I was looking at this on the 12Z run. There's actually a fairly tight pressure gradient off the New Jersey coast and down into the Delmarva Peninsula, with some heavier rain being indicated there. So there might be a little bit of wind along areas of the coast. Long Island's kind of on the edge of it, but from central and South Jersey southward, the gradient actually gets a bit tight. I'm going to switch to the 18Z just to see if it does the same thing. No, it's more suppressed on the 18Z. It's even further south. So, well, we'll see. We'll have to rectify. This could be a one run 18Z wonder the way it does likes to do things. And then, yeah, over the weekend with those two upper troughs, we'll probably see some showers, maybe even a low top thunderstorm on Saturday and maybe again on Sunday. And then next week, it's going to try to warm up a little bit on Tuesday, but with the high going out to the east off New Jersey, but there's already rain and showers and thunderstorms in the lower and middle Mississippi Valley and Gulf states. It's going to pivot northeastward. So by the middle of the week, we're going to be dealing with more rain and a bit of an onshore wind, if this is correct. And then there's another system right behind that one for late next week. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for outside of a day here or a day there where the weather is going to, where you're in between system and the weather turns out to be okay, um, if you're looking for a long, if you're looking for a 2 or 3 days stretch of nice weather, it's going to be very difficult to pull it off in this type of pattern.
6 to 10 day and 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook from CPC. I will not show it because I don't want to drive people crazy, but in both cases, it looks like everywhere east of the Mississippi, on both cases, precipitation above normal. So more often than not, you're going to be subjected to wet weather. It would appear, at least based upon the CPC outlook, over the 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 day outlook. 8 to 14 day, by the way, extends all the way out to May 22nd, which is what? That's well, 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, to Wednesday, May 22nd, and then a few days after that, we enter the Memorial Day weekend. Do you honestly think it's going to get better or dry out quickly for the Memorial Day weekend from this vantage point? It don't look like it's going to do it.
Well, we all know the Memorial Day holiday weekend of the three, well, now it's four summertime holiday weekends. Of the four summertime holiday weekends, that's the one that you have a good chance of losing at least one day and sometimes two out of the 3 days.
Yep. It's very
So,
rare that you get good weather on Memorial Day weekend. From experience, just from memory, there was one year I think that back in the '80s, where we were able to string together all all 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But those kind of Memorial Day weekends are few and far between.
all right. So, are you in the mood for a little Briller Jeopardy tonight, or you want to hold it for tomorrow?
Right now, I just feel like sitting here and closing my eyes.
All right. You know what? Let's hold it for tomorrow. We'll you've had a rough evening dealing with the dog. I actually got all my garden last year to set up my gardening. Let me see, by the way, if I just check something here. I would love if it showed up on let me get my Google Photos. Hold on a second. Uh, I want to show you my my roses. Oh yeah, they're there. Okay, great. So I have um I was so happy. I planted five rose bushes last year, and over the years, I've had very little luck with roses, but it has really played out well. This is a shot of what on my knockout roses. Uh,
Wow.
I mean, they're a orangey red color. I mean, oh my God, they were amazing. And let's see. So those are the two knockout rose bushes that I have. Okay. I attacked them with Miracle Grow started giving them Miracle Grow about 5 weeks ago. All the plants that were, sort of on ICU, and a lot of them came back strongly. But this is an absolute amazing rose that I have, Joe. It's like a creamy. The picture doesn't do it justice. Let's put it that way. It's a peach color rose uh, with some yellow in it. But I think it's just exquisite. And this is what it's a small bush, um, blooming beautifully. I'm so enamored by this particular rose bush, and I bought this from a local gardener here. His name is Mike, and he runs English Country Gardens. It's called. He's got a wonderful British accent, and uh, he lives in Hiawassee, which is about 10 miles to the east here. And I've gotten plants from this guy, and it's amazing some of how talented he is with some of the plants that he's grown, and they're just exquisite. But that rose is just, you know, I'm so proud of that rose. The knockouts I'm happy with, but that peach colored rose is just extraordinary.
Reminds me of the kind of roses my grandmother used to. She had wonderful rose bushes all along the side of her house on Huntington Avenue in Throgs Neck, and every year, and I think she actually had yellowish roses as well, Joe. But I mean the beautiful red roses. But I also remember as a very young boy one year that the roses were attacked by Japanese beetles. I remember the beetles were all over every rose. You could see like holes in every single petal. It was not a very good year then for the roses, but yeah, those are beautiful roses. Congratulations, and many more years of those roses. I would hope.
Oh yeah, I'm really thrilled to pieces about it. Um, it just because I over the years on Long Island, whatever be it, the climate there, the soil, whatever, because it's a very sandy soil. Roses just did not do well. At least with me, they didn't. They just would not grow, or they did. They grew terribly. No matter what I did, they got scraggly and spiny and wild, and you get a rose that had like one petal on it, that kind of thing.
Well, you know what you should have done,
So
Joe, when you were on Long Island? You should have called Mr. Kimball and find out, what you could do to make the roses grow
I
better.
could have called Mr. Kimball here. I just happened to see Mr. Kimball on a Perry Mason episode about an hour or so ago, playing a cab driver taking a woman to see her husband in prison in San Quentin. So he got he
And
gets he got around.
I mean, what did he say to the woman? He said, "So you want to go to San Quentin, or do you want to go to? No, you don't want to go there. A lot
Right.
of people fail there."
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Well, you could go. No, maybe not. Maybe it rains there most of the time.
exactly.
No, I'm very excited. My garden's all finished. I got all my mulch down. It took me about 6.5 weeks. So I had to start from scratch last year to clear the woods, the weeds, and everything else. So last year it took me 6.5 weeks to put everything down. And I did a little bit of rearranging, and I got everything done in 10 days.
Now,
And
Chuck Cardillo brings up a good point. You don't have any deer, do you?
I do have deer, but right now there's so much food around, natural food for them to eat, that they're not coming into the yard. But I have to pick up tomorrow when I go to Home Depot. I got to there I got they have this deer repellent that you could sprinkle around your flower beds. I used that last year, and that actually worked well. They pretty much stayed away from my stuff.
See where we are. We've got lots of deer, and I don't think enough food. So, and one year, I not about 4 or 5 years ago, Renata plants tomato plants right along the side of our house near the front door to try to preclude deer from. But one year, I remember opening the front door, and there was a deer trying to eat tomatoes, and no more than 4 or 5 feet away from the front door.
Oh, I
So
believe it.
that's the problem. They
I
love no.
No, I've put out corn for them. I haven't yet this year, but I've put out corn for them last summer, figuring that you know what, if the corn is out there, they'll go to the corn and they'll leave the plants alone. So that kind of worked. So I may
Hmm.
do the same thing and start putting some corn out when we get into the summer months. I do not. I don't do a vegetable garden because I have a lot of trees here, uh, very shady property, and to be honest, you know, you're growing when you grow veggies, it takes a lot of work and a lot of care. Not that it doesn't for a regular garden, but I just don't have the type of yard with the wood where I live in the woods where vegetables do well. However, my neighbor across the way has a full acre that's without any trees and gets full sun. So he's growing. I gave him stuff to grow for me, so he's growing it on his side. So all I have to do is walk across the way to pick up some fresh vegetables once they're ready. You know, you just work with your neighbors here in Pixley.
Yes.
All right. On that note, the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast is brought to you by Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link's on the description of this podcast. Use the coupon code spring 2024. If you do, you will get.
10% off.
And tomorrow's Thursday, so we'll be here tomorrow night for the next round of severe weather, wherever it takes us. So we'll see you then. Nighty night, everybody.
Good night, folks.